So hands up if you love to travel. Show of hands. Me too. I love it. So much so that I've visited now 70 countries. I've started an online travel business. I love to make adventure and travel happen. Experiences like this, when me and my mate kayaked the length of the Dead Sea in Israel, for me is just like pure awesomeness. But it's not all fun and games. I've been to some pretty crazy places, Indian shanty towns, one of the biggest favela in Brazil, where I met a child soldier. The reality of extreme poverty and the suffering of the people that deal with it has hit me pretty hard. But the entrepreneur in me kind of got excited and inspired about a potential solution. And I guess the locals that I've met in some of these developing countries, I think therein lies, at least in part, the solution. Smart people that understand the problems and are inspired to deliver and want to deliver the solutions more than any outsider ever could. So when a couple of friends of mine started Spark International, what they do is they enable these change makers. I had to help. The model's really simple. Basically, it's finding these local change makers, these little sparks of hope that have these awesome ideas in developing countries, then putting them into an intensive week-long accelerator program where they really shake down those ideas, giving them 3 years of support across a host of business services, and then connecting them potentially with funding. So this is where Crazy Guy on a Bicycle comes in. $3 a day, because that's what half the developing world live off of every day. In total, it was 1,800 kilometres over 14 days, 27 presentations, and $15,000 as my funding target. $15,000 is the amount required for Spark to run another one of these programs. So to do the 2015 intake in Kenya. As I rode, I spoke to some amazing organisations right down the West Coast. A ton of awesome organisations. I managed to scale up the awareness side of what I was doing via mainstream media, touching hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people in Australia and also America. Got to chat to Koshi, which is pretty cool. But it wasn't all sort of, glitz and glamour or whatever and glory. It was brutally tough. I mean, $3 a day, 1,800 kilometres, it was really hard. Torrential downpours of rain, punctures, never-ending hill climbs and a severely inadequate food budget really made it incredibly tough. But as hard as it got, you always knew that there was those awesome moments not too far around the corner. And that's one of them. I mean, it was just incredible, camping on the beach in Oregon. One of the things that really surprised me was the interactions with strangers. I wouldn't have been fed just on my $3 a day alone, so they gave me food. But I met all these awesome locals. That mother gave me a ton of baby food. The big brute of the guy on her side there, I thought he was going to deck me. He came in and gave me a bag of granola bars. And then that British tourist, he followed me online and chased me down and gave me a bag of food as I was nearing San Francisco, which was just the most amazing sight in the world. To see that bridge pop up out of the clouds as I came into the bay, it was incredible. And the sense of satisfaction knowing not only what I'd done physically and so forth, but also having easily surpassed the 15 grand was amazing. And in February this year, I went over to Kenya, over to Nairobi. These are the 19 change makers that we enabled. They've got incredible business ideas. They're inspiring in what they're doing and the circumstances that they're up against. This intensive accelerator was the first step in Spark's 3 years of support. So each of them is going to have some impact at some level. Some will affect hundreds of people suffering poverty. Some maybe tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands. But each of them is going to affect an impact upon people who are suffering poverty through their ideas. And this lady here, Teresa, is one of those change makers who are making it happen. She was incarcerated for 18 months for fraud, which she didn't actually do. She was a banker. And in that time in prison, she discovered thousands of people in Nairobi, women, who were incarcerated for crimes as petty as selling vegetables without the proper permit to support their family. Once you're incarcerated in Kenya, in a country where 49% of youth are unemployed, it's almost impossible to get back out to the workforce. So she created this business called Clean Start, which trains and then employs people who are incarcerated for petty crime. Pretty awesome, huh? So I guess the moral of this story, if you like, I think, is no matter what your circumstances, no matter how crazy your idea might be, don't think about it, don't talk about it, do it. Go make it happen. Thank you.